This is a story about a feud between the Philadelphia police and a radical group called MOVE.
If the police come in here with their hands, we'll use our hands. If they come in here with clubs, we'll use clubs. But if they come in here shooting and killing our women and children and our men, we will shoot back in defense of our lives.
A feud that spanned over 10 years and took the lives of one police officer, 6 MOVE adults, and 5 children. A feud that city leaders allowed to disrupt and finally destroy a neighborhood. At 5:27 p.m., without warning MOVE, a bomb containing powerful military explosives was dropped. This is the story of how it happened and who was to blame.
When they begin to charge us, when they begin to throw stuff, we're going to take them on.
Yes,
okay?
you have to. I understand.
The origins of the MOVE confrontation date back to the 60s and 70s, when Philadelphia, under police chief and eventually mayor Frank Rizzo, tolerated a police force with one of America's worst records for brutality.
This is MOVE, and this is 309 North 33rd. MOVE is a totally revolutionary organization, and the purpose of MOVE is to exhibit by its activity the purpose of revolution.
They demonstrated against virtually every organization on the right and the left, and both the police and this leftist little newspaper called The Drummer called them reactionary and fascist.
These people are just neurotic. I mean, it's like insane. There was no principle. There was nothing behind them. Nobody even know what it meant, MOVE. I mean, they still don't.
They've actually kind of confounded journalists over the years as we've attempted to explain them to the public. And it became sort of like the McCoys and the Hatfields, where a feud was really going on between the city and the city police and MOVE, and the origins of it were kind of lost.
I want to put out one thing, like you may hear me use profanity, but it is impossible to describe a maniac, a profane, obscene, pornographic freak without using profane words.
Profanity was their biggest weapon. Demonstrations like this protest in front of a Philadelphia police precinct inevitably led to arrests.
You don't see something that's profane, you can't use a pretty word, motherfucker.
MOVE claims the police killed one of their babies. Delbert and Jerry Ford Africa were there.
This baby was murdered. It had, been beat on the head with the sticks when the cop was trying to beat Janine down. All right, and to have that happen, I think it resolved MOVE members to the point where it said we ain't backing up.
We felt at that particular point that our organization had to make a statement to the city, to the world, that we were no longer going to tolerate the abuse and the killing of our membership.
Councilman Blackwell pressed the city to investigate the incident, but the city never took action. Over the next year, MOVE grew more militant. On May 20th, 1977, they showed up on their front porch armed with rifles and handguns. The city set up 24-hour surveillance. It was the beginning of a 14-month-long standoff.
The alcohol, tobacco, and firearms federal agents found their arsenal, which had 11 weapons, 11 rifles, and they had about 49 bombs and bomb parts.
When I finally saw them on the porch, I did some soul searching as to, what is this all about now? Because certain things were taking place, and I thought I was knowledgeable of what MOVE was doing, what they were all about, and so forth. And all of a sudden, they appear on the porch with the guns and so forth. Because all in the past, they spoke on a peaceful revolution type thing and confronting the system in a peaceful manner. After the gun thing, I kind of say, hey, it's a new ball game now.
While this is going on, they're still having this ongoing standoff with the police, with the building being under surveillance. There's 24-hour surveillance going on, and they wouldn't give up. They would not turn themselves in or turn over their guns and that sort of thing.
Neighbors were complaining that this house was a source of vermin and a health hazard, and that there were literally dozens of dogs that lived there feeding on raw meat. And when city housing code inspectors went to go there to check out the conditions, MOVE refused to let them in.
After many months and $3 million worth of police overtime, Mayor Rizzo tried to starve MOVE out.
We're going to put the blockade in. We're going to shut off all utilities. There'll be not a fly gets through.
But MOVE held fast. Ultimately, the blockade failed. So did attempts to negotiate a surrender.
We're not about surrendering. To surrender is to say we're guilty. We're not guilty, we're innocent.
Many people now saw MOVE as victims of a racist city government. Mayor Rizzo watched as MOVE gained community support. Then, on August 8, 1978, the mayor, convinced nothing else would work, sent in the police. It would be the first full-scale confrontation between MOVE and the city.
The police will be in there to drag them out by the backs of their necks.
There will be a confrontation this time. There will be no barricades.
I don't know. It's up to them whether no barricades, Mike. They're going to be taken by force if they resist. No question about that. Children or not.
Police surrounded the house and began to bring up a bulldozer to knock down the parapet and seize control of the house.
Well, when we got there, we moved into position. The ultimatums were given. The barricades were knocked down. The front porch was knocked down. The front window, basement window on 33rd Street was exposed. And I was right next to the window being right here. I was to the wall.
I was in the third floor apartment across the street at 33rd and Pearl. And I was sitting in the kitchen window watching all this on Deadline and reporting it to the day city editor. There was this calm, and all of a sudden...
Oh, they're shooting. They are. Stay down!
That chicken hit that wall right in it.
You know it.
They fired first. They definitely fired first, and fired a lot of sustained fire. It wasn't, the police didn't fire back until given the orders to fire back. Because what they were doing was they were just, they were scrambling.
One police officer laid down. 4 other policemen and 4 firemen were wounded. MOVE claims they never fired a shot.
I know the cops fired the shots throughout the whole thing. Ain't no doubt about it.
And I looked down, and Ramp, who had been kneeling down to take his position, basically he fell backwards. And blood was coming out of his mouth. I screamed in the phone, "Oh my God, they shot a cop." I think they started the deluge tanks again to give them a chance to get Ramp out of the scene. And then when that stopped, the MOVE people started to come out of the basement. And there were children, all morning there were like hundreds and hundreds of rats, and there were dozens of dogs that were coming out. And then the MOVE people came out, and there was women, there were children. But when Delbert Orr Africa came out, one grabbed him by the hair, by his dreadlocks, and started dragging him down the street. And these other cops just surrounded him and started kicking him and punching him.
He's hitting him. Hitting him on the head. He's kicking him on the head. I have no idea. I just couldn't see.
Shut up! Cops, you make a mistake doing that, sweetheart. Your ass, they are.
3 officers who beat Delbert Africa were indicted and tried for assault. A Philadelphia judge found them innocent. Delbert and 8 other MOVE members were convicted of murder. Each was sentenced to 30 to 100 years in state prison. It was not until 3 years later that some fugitive MOVE members were discovered living in Rochester, New York. John Africa was one of them. He and the others had fled Philadelphia before the August 8th confrontation.
John Africa.